Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're navigating one of the most abrupt and just fascinating strategic pivots I've seen in the tech landscape recently. We're talking about the definitive agreement that sees WiSA Technologies, a name you probably link with, crystal clear wireless home audio, basically shedding its skin and emerging as something completely different. DataVault AI, a data monetization and event technology giant. Our mission today is to really understand the mechanics, and I think, crucially, the why behind this whole multi-layered corporate move. We are diving into the definitive agreement for this new DataVault AI entity to acquire CompuSystems, or CSI. I mean, this is a company with 5 decades of event registration infrastructure. It's a rapid, high-stakes gamble. It all hinges on whether you can successfully merge patented digital sound tech, secure data exchange platforms, and, well, legacy trade show logistics.
Okay, so let's unpack this financial restructuring first, because you're right, it is layered. The core event is the acquisition of the privately held CompuSystems. They're a premier provider of, event registration, lead management services, that whole world. But like you said, this didn't happen in a vacuum. WiSA Technologies was already in the final stages of another deal.
Right, the DataVault IP acquisition.
Exactly. They were acquiring DataVault IP and already planning to rebrand the entire combined company as DataVault Inc. or DataVault AI. That was all slated for around the end of December 2024.
So to simplify this for everyone listening, the flow is basically the wireless audio company, WiSA, acquires the data engine, DataVault, and then the resulting data powerhouse, this new DataVault AI, immediately turns around and acquires the event infrastructure company, CSI.
That's it, precisely. The CSI acquisition was really the final piece of that puzzle. It was expected to close in January 2025, and, well, it was officially done by June 10th, 2025. And moving forward, CSI doesn't just disappear. It now operates as the CSI division of this newly formed DataVault AI entity.
And what does this immediate merger do to the balance sheet? What are we looking at for the financial impact in 2025, just from the CSI part alone?
The initial guidance is very compelling. CSI is projected to contribute somewhere between $13 and $15 million in revenue for 2025.
Okay.
And critically, $3 to $4 million in EBITDA. I mean, that immediately changes the whole financial narrative for the new DataVault AI.
Let's focus on the structure of the deal itself. It wasn't just the straight cash purchase, which suggests to me that management was really focused on preserving working capital, but also, incentivizing the CSI owners to stick around.
Exactly. The deal involved a pretty significant equity component. 10.6 million shares were issued to CSI stakeholders.
Right.
And there was also a financing component structured as $10 million in convertible debt. It was payable in 2 $5 million tranches at 6 and 9 months.
So a staggered payment helps manage cash flow.
Right. And what's maybe most reassuring for, continuity of service is the commitment of the people. All 95 full-time CSI employees, including their CEO, Mark Logirato, they all transitioned to the new corporate family.
That personnel fact is key. I mean, think about it. You are instantly blending a small, techie, roughly 50-person DataVault WiSA team with a 95-person operational and sales team that's been running major trade shows for decades. You go from 50 people to nearly 150 overnight. That's a huge integration challenge, but it's also a massive infusion of expertise.
It definitely de-risks the operational side of the integration. They're not just acquiring the tech, they're acquiring the talent and the institutional knowledge all at once.
Okay, this is where we need to slow down a bit and really appreciate the starting points. Because unless you understand the 3, very different businesses coming together, you can't appreciate the synergy. Let's start with WiSA Technologies. When you look at their history, what were they really known for before this big pivot?
WiSA's core identity, stretching back years, was just deeply, deeply rooted in audio. They defined and really championed the standards for high-definition wireless audio and home entertainment systems. If you had a high-end soundbar or a full immersive system from a big name like LG, Samsung, Bang & Olufsen,
Sure.
and it was flawlessly syncing sound without a single speaker wire, WiSA's technology was often the standard making that happen. They were solving a physical problem, cutting the cord while keeping perfect audio sync.
Okay, so a hardware-focused, high-fidelity wireless audio company. Then DataVault Holdings comes into the picture. What did the data engine bring to the table here?
DataVault was entirely different. They were a technology holding company, and their specific focus was on the secure monetization of data assets. Their proprietary platform, the Information Data Exchange, or IDE, is basically a cloud environment designed for secure data transactions. And crucially, they developed the ADIO platform, an ad-driven monetization tool that uses patented high-frequency audio to deliver hyper-targeted advertising.
High-frequency audio advertising. That sounds incredibly niche. Can you give us a quick analogy of how that patented ADIO tech actually works?
Absolutely. Think of it like a highly sophisticated invisible QR code that's being sent through sound waves. It uses high-frequency, inaudible tones frequencies that are way too high for the human ear to even register to transmit data between devices.
Like from a kiosk to my smartphone app.
Exactly. It's proximity-based and highly specific. And that's what makes it so powerful for targeted ads and personalized experiences. Only the specific app on an attendee's phone can hear and then decode that information in real time.
That really clarifies the link. You've got WiSA's history in audio tech and DataVault's patented use of audio for data. Okay, now let's bring in the target. CompuSystems. Who are they? What's the legacy they bring?
CSI is the infrastructure giant in this equation. They are a 48-year-old family-owned company from the Chicago area, and they have been the literal foundation of major event logistics for 5 decades. I mean, we're talking about managing registration, badge printing, lead retrieval for thousands of major trade shows, corporate events, government functions. They've managed over 50 million total registrants in their history.
Wow.
So when you go to massive industry staples like HIMSS or Infocom, CSI is often the engine running at the front end using their own CompuLead app for light retrieval.
So we have the old guard, right? The analog powerhouse that prints the badges and manages the lines, and they're marrying up with this new guard, a specialized data monetization engine.
Yeah.
Was CSI ready for this shift, or were they sort of dragged into the digital age?
Well, they were definitely leaning into it already. CSI had recently developed something called the M3 Expo Wallet app. This was their own internal attempt to transition the event business from, as they put it, high touch to no touch.
So getting rid of the paper and the physical interactions.
Exactly. The M3 app was designed to let attendees seamlessly gather information videos, documents, exhibitor details straight to a digital wallet. They were already moving towards a Web 3.0 model, and they were serious about it too. They recently acquired another company, EventsPass, to boost their ticketing solutions.
So it sounds like the catalyst for the full acquisition wasn't just blind faith. It was more like a successful pilot project that proved the synergy.
It was a direct technical collaboration. Right before the acquisition was finalized, in early December 2024, DataVault embedded its ADIO technology directly into CSI's new M3 Expo Wallet app. That partnership showed immediately how the data engine could supercharge the event infrastructure. It laid the foundation for management to confidently pitch this as a true corporate family, not just a financial merger. And what's fascinating here is that this is management's definition of a strategic bullseye aimed squarely at transforming the, high-margin event tech sector.
That brings us right to the investor context. We've established the starting points, but what is the ultimate value proposition here for the combined DataVault AI? It feels like they're moving way beyond just running trade shows and are betting the farm on data monetization.
That is the core shift. CSI brings the customer volume. We're talking over 1.4 million registrants a year and decades of historical data. DataVault's entire focus is on converting that huge reservoir of events data into monetizable Web 3.0 assets. Their information data exchange, the IDE, acts as the secure vault for this, and it allows them to create what they call immutable artifacts.
Okay, let's clarify that. Immutable artifacts, that sounds a little academic for a trade show. What does that mean in practice for an event organizer?
Right, good question. These aren't just tickets or simple records. They're essentially NFTs or NFC-enabled tickets that create a permanent, traceable record of attendance, of transactions, of every interaction. Because the data is recorded and verifiable on their IDE platform, it unlocks completely new revenue categories for the event organizers, stuff that goes way beyond traditional sponsorship or booth fees.
So they can profit from the data itself.
Organizers can now profit from the secure exchange of data, from layered advertising, and even from fractional ticket sales, and it's all managed on their platform.
And how does the proprietary tech, the ADIO high-frequency tones, how does that actually integrate on the trade show floor to capture all this data?
It creates a seamless, data-rich feedback loop. By integrating ADIO's patented proximity tech into the M3 Expo wallet, they can deliver these hyper-personalized, real-time experiences. I mean, we are talking prospect matching algorithms that alert an attendee when a high-value booth is nearby, or haptic engagement, a buzz on your smartwatch delivered right to your phone.
Wow.
And even content like holographic-assisted virtual tours that are triggered just by you standing near an exhibit. It converts passive attendance into active, measurable, and monetizable data interaction.
That kind of patented tech definitely creates competitive moat. But let's look at the financial model that comes out of this. The management team is pushing a dramatic margin expansion. Can a 48-year-old infrastructure company realistically pivot that fast? What are the risks to hitting that projected gross margin target?
That is the pivotal question for any investor. Management calls this the CSI case study. Historically, CSI's gross margins were relatively low for a tech-focused acquisition, floating between 36 and 38%. That lower margin was tied to the operational costs of hardware printing thousands of badges, maintaining physical front desk services, managing all those lab retrieval devices.
The physical stuff.
Right. The whole thesis is that shifting to a purely software and IT-centric delivery model, the M3 Expo wallet driven by the ADIO data engine, will propel those gross margins up towards 60% in 2025 and 2026.
A 24-point leap in gross margin. I mean, that's truly transformational. It takes them from a service and hardware business to a high-margin software business. But it requires near-perfect execution on migrating their massive client base away from processes they use for decades. It's a heavy lift.
Absolutely. The success hinges on the adoption rate of the new M3 platform. However, the potential market expansion does mitigate some of that risk. The technology isn't just limited to trade shows. Management is citing expansion opportunities across completely new verticals. Museums, for one. CSI already provided audio tours at premier venues like the MT, and also large sporting events.
Right. They already ran that successful pilot at Cowboy Christmas at the Las Vegas Event Center.
Exactly. Think about that scale. That single pilot engaged over 300,000 people. That volume of real-time data capture in a single high-traffic, non-trade show event, it proves the scalability of the combined platform.
If we connect all this back to the bigger picture, management seems incredibly confident that this suite of patented technologies, the audio transmission, the data exchange, the crypto anchor features, provides a significant barrier to entry. They really believe they've repositioned themselves as the market leader.
That's their stated view, yes. They believe they are not just competing within the event tech space anymore. They feel they're creating a new category. Their tech stack lets them confidently say that their competitors are now chasing them to try and replicate this data-driven Web 3.0 event experience. Now, we really must transition to analyzing the market implications of this profound strategic shift.
And this is where we say, this is not financial advice.
This is purely based on analyzing the market context from this deep dive. Picture yourself as a hedge fund pod analyst pitching this idea to your investment committee. Here's the pitch. Initiate a long position in the newly branded DataVault AI stock, which, by the way, still trades under the WiSA ticker, predicated entirely on the successful execution and, the subsequent market validation of this data monetization model.
What's the rationale there? Why jump into a stock that's been shedding so much value?
Because the market is currently valuing the stock based on its legacy performance. It's being seen as a small-cap wireless audio tech company, a sector where its shares plunged 86.8% over the past year. Critically, the market has not yet priced in two major factors. First, the guaranteed revenue and EBITDA injection from the CSI acquisition, which shifts the baseline completely. And second, the zero value currently being placed on the patented Web 3.0 data monetization capabilities and that dramatic shift to 60% gross margins.
So the thesis is basically a valuation arbitrage. It's based on a corporate identity change that the street just hasn't acknowledged yet.
Exactly. The trade expects a significant re-rating as the January 2025 M3 integration gets validated by new revenue streams. The company transitions from being a volatile wireless speaker provider to a dominant, high-margin, data-centric event tech innovator. The delta between hardware margins and software margins, that's the opportunity.
That is a fascinating strategic and financial thesis. So what does this all mean for you, the listener? The core takeaway here is that the alignment of WiSA's wireless audio experience, DataVault ADIO's data engine, and CompuSystems' massive operational infrastructure creates a potentially high-margin event technology powerhouse. They are actively trying to transition the entire industry, rapidly moving event logistics from Web 2.0 services to Web 3.0 data assets.
It's a move designed to unlock exponential revenue growth from the data itself, which used to just be dormant, rather than relying only on the slow growth of traditional registration and exhibit fees.
And I have a final provocative thought for you to consider. Building on the broader industry trends we uncovered, recent reports from the trade show industry show real stagnation. We saw Q3 2025 data indicating exhibit space, and exhibitors were up only fractionally, but attendance actually dropped by 2.1%. So given this sluggishness, Will this high-tech focus on data monetization and enhanced attendee experience become not just a competitive differentiator for companies like DataVault AI, but a mandatory utility for event organizers? A necessity just to get back to pre-pandemic attendance and growth rates. What happens when data monetization isn't a luxury feature anymore, but the baseline expectation for every single major live event?
That frames the discussion perfectly. It shows the potential for this technology to solve a really fundamental industry problem.
We invite you to consider the broader implications of data monetization across all large-scale live events. And we'll catch you next time for more actionable insights extracted from the headlines.